If you're selling on Amazon and you're using some tools like Helium and Jungle Scout, maybe you're not aware that Amazon actually now offers a tool directly from Amazon where you can make a market research. You can actually understand the data about different niches and the products even more detailed than sometimes in Helium and Jungle Scout. Let me show you how to utilize this tool. So it's called a Growth Opportunity Explorer, and the way how you find it, you navigate to Growth, you go to Product Opportunity Explorer, sorry, not Growth, but Product Opportunity Explorer. On this page, basically what you can do, you have a chance of researching on different categories, or you can straight go and insert the keyword that you're interested in. As an example, let's take protein bars. So imagine we're about to launch a protein bar, or we're already selling and want to get more information. But first option, hey, I'm about to launch protein bars. What's happening? What you do here, you of course search for the product. Ensure that of course you pick the market you're interested in. You can see there are different options, US, UK, and Europe. And then you press search, and here how it works. You will see different customer needs and top search terms. So you can actually see not just one main keyword like protein bars, but you can see a lot of different ones that mostly people search for, branded one, more specific like clean, natural protein bars. So you take a look here and choose the ones that you're mostly interested in, the most relevant for you. But even here we get a lot of insights about in total for the past year, how was the search volume for each of those keywords, I mean each of those search terms. And Amazon actually shows you the total amount of searches. It shows you the growth or decline. Is it like up and down? And this gives you an indication how is the market in general. And if you scroll down, you might find some, let's say, collagen protein bars. So we can see for the past year, it's actually 15% up in terms of searches. So more and more people are looking for this keyword. That might be really interesting data to look into if you're considering launching something like a new product in a new niche. So those are actually giving you a lot of insights also in terms of how many units in total were sold for this whole search term. You can see return rates, which is also important for you to identify what you can expect. Average price, price range, all of that again is here. And you can also filter here. Let's say I want to see the only search terms where most growth in terms of searches happened for the past year. So then we can filter like this. And yeah, we can see protein hot chocolate. There might be not all of them super relevant, but most search terms will be relevant. So then you can take a look here. Take as an example protein bars. I will take as an example the main keyword still, protein bars. So what you do next, you click on this keyword, and then you specifically have, yeah, again, all of the insights about this particular products and category. And then the most interesting data actually comes from here. Of course, you see ASIN brand category. All of that is not that important, as those numbers are super crucial. So what Amazon is actually telling you, they're giving information on among all of the best-selling products that are actually ranking for this protein bars generic keyword, what is the total click share that goes to each of those sellers? So you can see that, okay, how this category looks. For instance, if you're in a category where you're doing the research and 80% of all the sales goes to one bestseller, well, that might be super tricky to compete with them, right? Where you have to come up with a super unique offer. So this data actually gives you a pretty good understanding of the market, whether it's equally spread clicks and revenues or not. So this is definitely something you want to look into, as well as launch date. Of course, you can see that a lot of bestsellers, they have been selling since 2018, 2017. But hey, are there any new protein bars that are on top of the market that are still kind of among the winners? You can click here and we can actually see that, yeah, there are some products that started in this last year, and they're getting like almost 2% of click shares, which in this category, in this keyword, is good if we look into the bestsellers, what we did previously, where the best one, they get 7%, and most of them are getting like 5, 4, 3, 2, and etc. Of course, you have to remember that it might be still a big brand who introduced a new variations, so it might be easier for them to pick up on the click shares, but still this one is something that you want to research. You can see also average customer rating, super crucial thing to look into for two reasons. The first one, if you're researching on the new product you want to launch, then yeah, you want to see whether, let's say, all of our competitors are 4.8, 4.9. Again, might be more challenging to compete with them, as people are satisfied with their products, so we need to be more creative in the way how do we differentiate. But then if it's lower ratings, again, we can maybe take some of the negative feedback, ensure that we make those things better in our product. And also for product marketing, for PPC campaigns, so maybe we want to target mostly those products that are not having that great reviews, so we have a better offer compared to them in terms of our average rating star. So all of this data actually Amazon provides. You can also see the total amount of reviews that those ASINs got for the past year. And here again, you can always, of course, customize columns if you want to ensure that, okay, I don't want to see the brand, ASIN category. Again, you can just get a look on those ASINs. Then we go to search terms. So here we can actually see that which are the mostly searched terms for this generic niche of the protein bars. Again, all of the insights we can see who are top clicked products, number 1, number 2, number 3. That's all the information we can compare here. Again, this comes directly from Amazon, so we know that it's accurate data. Then when we go to insights, we actually can see a lot of interesting data here as well. What I recommend to look into, for instance, this one, top 5 brands click share. We can see that for protein bars, top 5 brands are getting almost 60% of all of the clicks that are happening for this category. This is an important metric for you to look into, because in most categories, you really want to go into category where it's not like 80 or 90% by top 5 brands. So you have actually, as a new seller, more chances of succeeding and taking some of that. It doesn't mean that in this case we cannot compete, but knowing protein bars, which is quite complex category, I mean, those brands are huge, they're spending a lot of money, so it might be difficult for you to compete. But yeah, sometimes you really want to ensure that top 20 brands, they have maybe 80%, not 93 or 70%. So the lower those numbers are, in most cases, the better it is for you as a new seller or existing one. Then you can see the average brand age, so how established those brands are. We can also see the important metric of Prime. Let me find it. Yeah, what is the percentage of Prime products for the past year? We can see almost all of the products are being fulfilled by Amazon. So if you're researching on a category, what could be an opportunity? Let's say you're in a category where it's only 40-50% of Prime products. So that's an opportunity for you to actually do FBA. And of course, Amazon favors FBA sellers, not that much as it was before, to be honest. So it's not that critical, but still, sometimes it might help, especially with delivery dates for end consumer. But we also have to remember there are some categories where most of the sellers are FBM for a reason. For instance, if they're selling like big tables, most of them, they want to fulfill themselves and they want to ensure that, yeah, they're saving some cost. But again, by looking into this data, you might decide, hey, let me just do FBA for a certain amount of time to get some rankings, to test how my conversion rates are changing compared to me being FBM. And then you can always adapt and have, let's say, 50-50 FBA, FBM, or later you can switch to FBM fully. But in the beginning, better with FBA for most products, also that you're not risking your account. You can see this metric. So what is actually amount of sellers that are utilizing ads? So the lower this number, the more opportunities for you. So if, let's say, 50% of products in this category are using sponsored ads, hence, I mean, that's no-brainer, a chance for you to be aggressive on ads because you can stand out. This is a goal, right? We want to show up on the first page as much as possible in most of the cases. And so, yeah, we can basically see a lot of data from here. And to be honest, I'm still shocked like how much data we get from Amazon, because you can make a full analysis of the category just by utilizing this data. And actually, I don't know if you noticed or not, you can basically make research other products. So you don't need to sell protein bars in order to access this information from Amazon. So if you have this page available, you can research on most of the categories. The exceptions would be some of them that are not that large enough for Amazon to gather data. So not everything is going to appear here, but for most of the bigger categories, you will have the insights on this page. Yeah, but you can also see the average review rating. So again, we can see, okay, 4.3, then you make analysis and see, okay, can we bring it to 4.6 or 7 somehow as a new product? Or if we're existing seller and you're really stressed about you being 4.3, and then you see actually most of the competitors are 4.3, so there's not that much to stress about. It's not affecting you that bad. It really depends on the category. Then a number of successful launches for the past half a year and year. I'll be honest with you, I don't know how Amazon really assess this. Like, what do they actually consider a successful launch? Hence, this data is something maybe, I mean, there's showing that number of new launches with annualized revenue amount more than 50K. But knowing that some products are seasonal, they might go to out of stock. There's still might be some successful products that are just not there for the whole year, and they're not going to appear here. But again, next to each of the sections here, you can take a look, like by Amazon explanation, how they're assessing all of those metrics. The next one is trends. What I like about this insight is that we can see, for instance, are there more products in the market for the last year or not? So if you see that, so let's say your conversion rates changed a lot. So let's say in September it was 15%, then in December it got to 22%, and before it was not that big spike. You might think, what is the reason? But one of the reasons could be that some of the competitors are out of stock or something is just happening on the market. So of course you do the research on the keywords, what is happening, your competitor searches, but then Amazon also shows you, okay, in terms of the product count, so whether it goes down or up, search volume, so you can actually compare. So let's say search go up, but the product count goes down. That's actually a good situation. So there is more demand and less offering. So then you can be more aggressive with your product and have a better chance of having better conversions and getting more sales. Or maybe you are researching on the new product. That's also information you can take into account. Unfortunately, for now, we only can see it for a year. We cannot see it for 5 or 3 years at least, the data here. But I think they might introduce this. And you can actually try it and request a metric from Amazon. Maybe they will listen to you and say, okay, we're just gonna add 1 more year. But from my experience, I mean, Amazon is not listening that much. But they're giving us this data, which is already nice. Of course, you can add some other metrics that you want to see, for instance, search conversion rate. This is quite tricky in the way that if there is one metric that we don't get that accurate information on, is that average conversion rate on the market. Some people actually say that you can take this one as a benchmark. I'm quite skeptical about it, so I think you can use it as something to work from, but always still assess your products separately. But again, you can look into search conversion rate as to look something at average conversion rate in this category. Purchase drivers is a new thing, not that accurate from my experience what I've analyzed, but it just shows you what are the main reasons why customers choose those products based on, again, reviews, based on some other search intents, etc. But this one is really important, custom review insights. On this page, you can see what people like the most products and what they actually don't like. How you can utilize it. First one, positive topics. If we know that 35% of customers care about the nutritional content, we want to ensure that we address it in our product listing. We maybe add it to our images. But we don't just say that we have an amazing nutritional content. If you really be like a next level marketeer, you think about, okay, I'm going to read through all of those positive reviews, what customers care about. We'll try to actually mention the ones that are relevant, those points, but maybe I will try to bring even more information, maybe even more benefits on this topic, because we know that for customers it's important. 35% of all the positive mentions for protein bars are about nutritional content, about the taste and about flavor. And negative topics. So here we can see that mostly they are actually complaining about taste. What we can do with this? First, if we introduce a product we have with a great taste, we make more effort on telling this, hey, I know that you hate some of the other protein bars and the taste. I think we have it better. I mean, we do it in a good way. We care about it. We put more effort into this because customers don't like it there. So we have a chance of taking those customers from our competitors and converting to our existing. And then another thing you want to actually be aware of, then if you have a product and you want to ensure that there is less kind of negative feedback about the taste, you want to be transparent with customers. You need to actually tell what they should expect. Because if you have a really specific taste, don't hide it, tell about it. People need to be aware of it. Otherwise, they're just gonna leave a negative review. Or if you're selling an example with natural organic skincare, the cream will feel different on your skin compared to just a generic brand. So you need to communicate how the customers will feel the product, how they will actually, the size of it. So you want to ensure that expectation and reality is matching. This is a crucial thing. And if you're wondering, okay, what are those expectation and reality things that I need to be aware of? Again, you go to Custom Review Insights, and then you are able to look into this. You can also utilize, of course, tools like Gilium, Shulex, Jungle Scout, where you can get the review insights more in details. You can actually extract it to ChatGPT, ask the AI to make a more in-detailed analysis. But yeah, if you just want to have a generic overview, quickly go to this Product Opportunity Explorer. Returns. This one just shows you, again, for most categories I have been researching here, sometimes it doesn't show any information, but it just shows you when customers customer return the product, as you know, that they can leave a comment, right? What is the reason for return? So Amazon, of course, takes into account those reasons for all the category. And then they're showing you here that, okay, in this case, 30% of the mentions are about taste. And we can see it's actually correlates with the negative feedback here that is actually about the taste. Yeah, so of course here we can also ensure to do it for different markets, we can do it for different keywords, but it's a crucial tool for you to utilize. Not only you can get a lot of insights before launching a product, but if you're an existing seller, you can also take a look at what is happening in our market, who am I actually competing with. So maybe I am a bestseller. That's actually a thing that I saw a lot of times. A bestseller in terms of sales might get not majority of the clicks on the market. So the bestseller gets, let's say, 20% of the clicks and the second bestseller gets 35% of the clicks. So how can we utilize this data? It means that maybe our competitor is more, if we're a bestseller, right? Our competitor is more efficient in terms of advertising because still they're putting more ads on sponsored brand modules, sponsored products, sponsored display. So people see their product more, they click, but there is something they don't like, or they still want to do the research. So we actually have an opportunity maybe to test being more aggressive on ads, on the exposure, to get most clicks and see how it affects our sales, because then we maybe have a chance of actually increasing more our sales. But of course we have to be cautious here, keeping in mind the profits, and it doesn't actually always mean that you have to strive for becoming a bestseller. There might be a cost of becoming bestseller, so it's always about finding the sweet spot, right? But it's important to test. So this data of the click shares can give you information on the situation on the market and whether you need to be more aggressive on advertising, or actually you might to be more aggressive on conversions. If you get a lot of clicks but you're not getting sales that much, maybe there is something off with your offer, the listing, or in general maybe there are some interesting trends in the market that you have to be aware of. So yeah, I hope you found this really helpful. Actually, I always recommend using Product Opportunity Explorer together with the brand analytics, but that's a topic for another video of how you can actually know even more insights about your products and see that for each of the keywords we are selling for, what is our customer journey. So here we get information about clicks, but then what happens after? How many of those that are clicking on the product that are actually just bounce back, or they add product to the basket and they actually make a purchase? So each stage of our customer journey, Amazon now shows information on this, and I will showcase it in another video. If you have any questions about this tool particularly, or anything about Amazon, feel free to leave a comment or send me an email. I'll be happy to answer those. So my name is Andres, I'm a co-founder at Inels, and always happy to answer your Amazon related questions.